If you're looking for an incredibly flat and scenic bike tour along the edge of coastal waters, then the Silver Coast Bike Tour in central Portugal may just be the cycling holiday you've been looking for. This week-long bicycle tour has it all: historical cities, incredible architecture, picturesque landscapes, scenic coastal views, beautiful bike paths, a diversity of flora and fauna, fantastically delicious food, and amazingly luxurious accommodations. After arriving in Porto, you'll check into your hotel and then gather together with the leaders of the tour for a brief orientation meeting.
Extra little bit, which so if you want to take a look, you will know much better than what I will go to visit the museum. You can see here that is the castle. It has a very nice, because we'll pass the rest of here and then the coast of the city. So pretty much.
Then you'll head to the Bike Tours Portugal shop to be fitted on the bicycles that you will be riding for the duration of the tour. So we've just completed the orientation for the tour, where we're kind of given a day-by-day breakdown of the entire bike tour from here in Porto all the way to the end. And now we are trying out our bicycles. This is the first time everyone's riding their bike. So everyone has been given a rental bike and a helmet and a water bottle and a pannier bag to carry with them on the bicycle tour. And so now everyone is just trying out the bikes, getting them fit to their body, adjusting the seat height and the saddle type and the handlebars and everything else, making sure the brakes work, etc., so that you are ready basically when the bicycle tour begins. After our orientation meeting was over and everyone on the tour had been given an opportunity to get their bicycle in working order, we were led across the city on a 2-hour-long walking tour of Porto, Portugal.
We have actually two remainings of the wall still. One is over there, so you can more or less see where the city will end, but it's not easy to find.
Game on.
At the end of our guided walking tour of Porto, we strolled across the famous Louis I Bridge and entered the Burmester Wine Cellars, where we were given a short tour of the winery and learned why port wines and other wines made in the Douro region of Portugal are so very special.
Fun and laughter.
After our tour of the winery, we walked a short distance down to the riverfront and found a restaurant located just a few steps away from the water. It was here that we ordered our first major meal of the tour and had our first opportunity to really sit down with the other members of our group and get to know one another. Hello, Darren Alf here from BicycleTouringPro.com. Today is the first day of the Silver Coast Bike Tour here in Porto, Portugal with Top Bike Tours Portugal. Yesterday was the first day of the tour, but it was a non-cycling day, whereas today is the actual first day of cycling on this bike tour. So I think everybody's nerves are a little high just because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know the speed at which we're going to ride. We don't know what the roads or trails are going to be like because this is a new place for pretty much all of us. I have been to Portugal before, but I've never done this route before, so even I don't have any idea what we're going to come across. So yesterday was a very good day, however. We didn't cycle yesterday, but we did all meet for the very first time. We had our first orientation meeting, which was basically where we just met the tour leaders. We met the other people on the tour, and we also got kind of like an information packet and learned about what the bike tour is going to be like, how far we're going to be riding each day, what we can kind of expect, that sort of a thing. Then we got fitted on our rental bikes. Nobody here brought their own bicycle on this particular bike tour. We're all using bikes provided by the company. So we got fitted on our bikes, we adjusted the seat and the handlebars. Some people put on like their own SPD pedals and mirrors and things like that. Then we went on a 2-hour walking tour of Porto, Portugal, which was very interesting. It's a very beautiful and walkable city, and I'm kind of surprised more people don't come to Porto or even know about Porto, frankly, because I've been here 3 times myself. This is my 3rd time in Porto, and every time I come here I like it more. So we went on this walking tour. Then we went to a winery that's located here in town and kind of got a tour of the place and learned how their wines are made, and we tasted some wines ourselves. And then finally last night we all went out to dinner at one of the restaurants down by the water. And it was kind of a great way to conclude the night and also to further get to know each other, because we are in fact kind of all still getting to know each other. There are a few couples here or a couple of friends that are together, but for the most part there's a group I think of 12 of us total. So there's a few singles and a few doubles, and together we form 12 total people. So there's 12 total people on this bike tour, as well as 2 tour leaders. So that was yesterday. Today we had breakfast. I just went down to breakfast and grabbed a quick meal. I was, of course, the last person down there. I'm such a lazy head. Everyone was up before me. And now we've all run back to our hotel rooms, myself included, and we're packing up and preparing for the day. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to stuff my bag really quickly with all of my things. Then I'm going to run down to the van. One of the great things about this bike tour is you don't have to carry all your stuff on your bicycle as you're riding each day. So I am going to put all of my things, basically like my toiletries and my clothes, and I have my computer and stuff with me. I'm not going to carry any of that on my bicycle. I'm just going to bring it down to the van. They're going to transport it to the next hotel for me, so that when I arrive at that hotel later today, all of my things are waiting for me. And I basically only have to carry a few things on my bicycle: my camera, my wallet, maybe a rain jacket just in case, but we aren't going to need that today because it's a beautiful day. So, got to pack up, run downstairs, and make sure I'm not the last one down there. Okay, here we go. Day 1, the first day of cycling on the Silver Coast Bike Tour with Top Bike Tours Portugal. Here we go. Crossing the bridge here, a lot of traffic.
What do you think of the ride so far?
So awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Even the traffic?
Doesn't bother me a bit.
So we have just about left Porto now. We are making our way out of the city on a bike path, which is very nice.
This is what you wanted, huh? It is. All right, that's great.
I'm Barb, and I'm from Gillette, Wyoming, United States.
And where are we right now?
We are in Porto, Portugal, on the beach.
Yeah, participating in the Silver Coast Bike Tour.
In the Silver Coast Bike Tour.
Yeah, and how did you find out about this tour?
On your blog. One of my friends read it and said, hey, let's go.
And have you been to Portugal before?
Never been to Portugal before.
Yeah. What are you expecting to see? We're on the first day of the trip here.
I'm expecting to see lots of water and green. And other than that, I have no idea.
Yeah. So we've just started cycling, but yesterday we did a walking tour and a whole bunch of other things. I don't know what's been your favorite part thus far.
Oh, goodness. I loved the train station that had all the blue tile, and having dinner along the Porto River was really lots of fun, and the guide was fabulous with his historical knowledge. I loved that.
What's your name and where are you from?
Herb Perrell from Kitchener, Ontario, Canada.
Cool. And where are we right now?
Where are we? We're in Portugal, of course. I don't know where we are.
You were.
Well, we started in Porto. I don't know where we are like this moment, but
And what are we doing?
we're on a cycling tour.
Yeah. And how did you find out about this trip?
Oh, I watched one of your videos. I watched the Santiago video last year that you did. Maybe you did it a couple of years ago, but I found it last year, and you extended an invite, and I thought about it, and it just seemed like that would be a great thing to do. So here we are.
That's awesome. And you've never been to Portugal before?
Nope,
What do you think of it thus far?
absolutely love it. It's everything I imagined it would be. I mean, I kind of started thinking about this trip last November, like almost a year ago. So it's been fantastic because it's given me something to look forward to for the whole year.
Yeah. And did you come on the trip by yourself?
No, I brought a friend of mine.
That's cool. And how did you convince him to come along?
Well, I just sent him your video. I said, check this out, see what you think. And, he's a bit of a skeptic and did all his research. And once he was convinced, then we booked it.
So we're about 24 hours or so into the trip. We had yesterday kind of walking tour, and now we're just getting started with the cycling. How has it been thus far?
Oh, it's pretty much everything I imagined and more. It was a great weather. The temperature's great. I'm delighted by how good the bikes are. I had a bit of a ride in Italy last year, like just a day trip, and the bike was clicking and clacking, but boy, the bike I have here runs as smooth as could be, so I'm really delighted with that.
Great. Is there anything in particular about this trip that you're looking forward to?
Just every minute of it. I mean, my wife's going to join me after the trip, and we're going to go on for another part of our vacation, but this is just step one. I'm not in a hurry to get through it. I just want to enjoy every minute.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
Just thanks for extending the invitation, because this is a pretty neat thing to do.
Yeah.
And it comes from just having watched your videos. You have developed a little bit of a trust in watching somebody, so it made it feel comfortable to come, and it's not disappointing. It's been everything I hoped it would be. You set a good expectation with that other video, and it's been playing out pretty much in a very similar manner. It's not on the same trip exactly, but it was Portugal, so delighted to be here.
Great.
So here we are in Portugal. I have no idea what this is, but someone has decorated their house with lions and soccer players, I believe. Maybe they're a sports fanatic. I'd love to know the story behind this. Very interesting.
So, we're going to stop here because this is a very nice chapel of the area if you want to take a look, and also of course if you want to go to the toilet or a coffee. If you were Portuguese you would want a coffee right now.
What's your name?
My name is Henrique,
And
harder to pronounce for Americans, but
Enrique.
yeah, you can try like the Spanish, Enrique.
Enrique. And who are you?
Well, I am currently working with Sergio, which is actually over there, and we are for quite some time actually doing these cycling holidays.
Yeah, so you're leading the tour
Yeah,
here.
basically.
Cool. And where are we going? What is this tour
So
like?
the destination is Coimbra, which is like more or less in the middle of Porto and Lisbon, and we're going to take 5 days to get there. So we're going to pass nowadays in Espinho, it's where we're going to stay, tomorrow, Aveiro, which is known as the Venice of Portugal, is actually a nice city. And then Mira, smaller town, Figueira da Foz, which will be our last coast city. And then we go back to the inside to Coimbra, which is known as the student city of Portugal. Yeah, so it's a 5-day tour, and it's actually a nice one. You will like it.
And how old is like the average person that goes on a trip like this, and like how experienced are they? Do you have to be like a racer?
No,
or-
no. This is a very nice one because it's pretty much flat all the way, and only the 4th day is that you have a actual hill, which is a nice challenge, at least for some change in terms of elevation. But most of the way is actually quite nice, a very nice scenery, and pretty much flat all the way.
Okay. And what do you think is unique about Portugal? Like, why should people come here?
Portugal, I would say that's almost self-explanatory, boosting the ego of the country. But actually, Portugal is quite in vogue right now. If I were to tell my opinion, actually, I'm more of a nature guy, and nature generally tends to be more to the interior. Of course, you here have a lot of nature part, but what I mean by nature is here you have like portions of like 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers where you go, for example, through the woods, like you will do tomorrow, for example. But Portugal has a lot of different things to offer. So you have nature if you go inside. The other day there was a couple that were looking, for example, for kayaking. You also have that kind of opportunities here. And then the coastal side, it's packed with fishing villages, which is always very interesting for outsiders. And now they have for quite a long time already a cycling path through most of the coast of the country, which of course helps a lot for people to bike throughout all of those fishing villages and those small woods, which is so the country actually has a lot to offer, especially in food.
Yeah.
Food is something that people always talk about when they come here. Yeah, both fish, meats. Well, vegetarians always have a little bit more of a trouble to actually find I would say a lot of dishes, dish choices, and you experience that.
But what is like the traditional what's the food? What is like something that we can expect here on the coast?
In terms of fish, you'd see arroz de marisco, what the Spanish call paella. Probably people know more from that name. You have codfish, which is always actually several dishes of codfish is something you can always expect. And then through the coast, generally all kinds of seafood, you would be actually able to see it. But I would say codfish is a very common dish, literally everywhere. And the paella, arroz de marisco as we call it, you can also see a lot of places that are offering that. Yeah.
What is that?
That is actually something we're going to try at lunch. It's literally rice, a very wet rice with seafood, lots of seafood. It can vary from restaurant to restaurant what they actually put there, but it can go from mussels or shrimps, as you call them, I think. It can go from oysters, and then I'm trying to think of the names in English, honestly. But you have a lot of a variance of different seafood it's basically a mix of different seafood with rice.
Toward the end of our ride, we stopped at a small oceanfront aquarium where they had on display a wide variety of fish and sea creatures from the local area. This was a great way for us to get a sense of the wildlife living off the shores of Portugal without having to do any kind of actual deep sea diving for ourselves. Eventually, we cycled into the massive Hotel Solverde Spa and Wellness Center. This 5-star hotel had just about anything you could ever want from a hotel. Beautiful grounds on a beachfront property, 2 swimming pools, a spa, restaurant, mini golf, and a whole lot more. After taking a shower and a short nap, we left the hotel and met with the others in our group for our first major dinner together on the entire bike tour. All right, so we just finished the second day of the Silver Coast bicycle tour. Today was the second day of the tour, but it was actually the first day of riding or cycling on this particular bike tour. Yesterday was more of just an orientation day where we met up and went on a walking tour of the city, but we didn't do any actual cycling. Now, once we did get out of Porto, we began cycling south and the roads opened up and we were on a bike path. And there were several comments from people in the group saying just how great this particular part of the ride was. So many people loved the bike path. We were getting ocean views, beautiful weather. The day started out hot and it actually got cooler as we went along. And at one point we put our jackets on, which was unbelievable because yesterday was just so incredibly hot. And today was really like perfect cycling weather. You kind of don't want to cycle in extreme heat. You want it to be a little bit cooler, and today was exactly that. So we really lucked out in so many ways. Now we are at our hotel. Once again, a beautiful hotel, just like the first night of the tour. We also just went out to dinner, and just like the first night, the dinner recommendation tonight was very, very good. And I think everybody has been saying the food is good, the hotels are good, the cycling is good, everything is good thus far. Now, one of the things that was brought up at lunch today was somebody was asking, why is this bicycle tour called the Silver Coast Bicycle Tour? And at first, Sergio, who's like the tour leader and owner of Top Bike Tours Portugal, was just saying, well, they call this the Silver Coast of Portugal, and that's why it's called the Silver Coast Bike Tour. But the real reason this part of Portugal got its name, the Silver Coast, is not because this is a silver mining area or something like that. It's not because pilgrims or what are these people called that sail in boats? Explorers, like Christopher Columbus. Not because people like that went to foreign lands and brought back a bunch of silver. It has nothing to do with pirates or anything like that. The name, the Silver Coast, actually comes from the color of the sun as it bounces off the ocean here off the coast of Portugal. It creates kind of a silver hue, silver glint, silver beam as it bounces off the water, and that's where the name the Silver Coast comes from. So that is why this particular bike tour down the Silver Coast of Portugal is called the Silver Coast Bike Tour.
Good morning. It is the second day of the Silver Coast Bicycle Tour here in central Portugal. We woke up this morning and there was quite a bit of fog out. It's a little cool, but kind of like perfect cycling weather, really. I've got my jacket on. It's not so cool that I'm cold. It's just like perfectly cool enough that I can pedal my bike and not break a sweat. The fog does prohibit the view just a little bit, but it's really not bad. And frankly, I really am enjoying this kind of weather. I think it's fantastic. So I suspect that this fog will burn off a little bit later in the day, but until then, I'm enjoying it. Cycling on these wooden boardwalks is a lot of fun. Like, I really enjoy this. It makes me feel like I'm on a roller coaster or something, just like the roller coaster bike tour down the coast of central Portugal. It's nice.
Thank you. Cheers, guys. It's always a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time.
She stumbled over the back and away we went.
That's really great about this. Here comes Sergio in the van, the support van. There he is.
That's what's cool on a tour like this. A lot of the equipment and food and water and stuff is carried in that van. They have backup supplies, helmets and saddles and bike tools and all kinds of stuff in case there's a breakdown, and that van is never far away. So very, very nice. What are your names and where are you from?
Jan,
And Steve. We're from Connecticut in the U.S.
U.S. And how did you find out about this bike tour?
through your website?
For your website, Bicycle Touring Pro.
Have you been to Portugal before?
No.
Never.
What did you expect, if anything? Did you have expectations?
Yeah, I expect to just have a great time,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
know, along the shore.
Yeah. And how do you have the time to do this? There's a story there, isn't there?
Yes, well, Jan retired a little over a year ago, and I retired a little over a week ago. So we thought that this would be a nice opportunity to go on our first adventure after retirement, and so here we are.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And like, what about bike trip? Like, a lot of people go on holiday, but they don't go on a bike trip. You know, like
Yeah.
they just sit on the beach. And
Yeah,
do
Yeah.
nothing. Why did you choose to do this?
because we just love cycling,
Yeah.
you know.
And it's a healthy lifestyle. You know, when we were younger, we sat on the beach.
Yes.
But the older you get, the more you know, you think about time and everything, and it's very good to keep in shape the best you can. And cycling is an excellent way to get off the couch and do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about the trip so far? Have you enjoyed?
I think the culture. I've been to
Yes.
different places in Europe, and the culture here is really laid back. We've been in Porto, and the city is clean, a lot of
Yes.
history, And of course, the people on the tour are very friendly. It's a good group.
Yes, it's an
Yeah.
excellent group.
Yeah.
Excellent group of people.
We're getting off the ferry here.
My name is Patrick Sneederjohn. I'm from Grand Junction, Colorado, and we've done all of our bicycling for the day, and we're waiting for a boat ride here in Aveiro.
Yeah, that's great.
It's called the Venice of Portugal, I understand, so I look forward to that.
How did you find out about this bike tour?
Well, I've followed your videos for several years, and noticed last fall that you mentioned that you were going to be doing this tour, and I did a little exploring myself and had good experience on a previous type tour, and decided back then to do it, and contacted Sergio, the head of the company, and started the planning process.
That's cool. Have you ever done a bike tour like this before?
Yes, my son and I did a tour in Norway in July of 2017, and that was also inspired by some of your videos of your own trip through Norway, and we enjoyed it immensely, and that's another reason why I signed on to this one.
That's cool. Your son isn't on this trip with us. But
Yeah, he couldn't make it because of his work schedule.
yeah, did you have hesitations at all coming alone, or were you?
No. I'd been to Europe on my own before and had good experiences. So, and I knew this was a group and a group activity and very well organized, and so I was very confident about it.
Did you say? What did you point?
Some Canadians. One Canadian and another one Canadian.
Bienvenidos a Aveiro, mi nombre es Ricardo. Disfruten de la. This boat, in the past, transported seaweeds used to fertilizing fields. This boat transported between 5 and 7 ton seaweeds. Estamos numa embarcação típica da Ria de Aveiro, o muliceiro. Esta embarcação antiguamente transportava algas marinhas que eram utilizadas como fertilizante agrícola. Esta barca podia transportar entre 5 e 7 toneladas de algas.
It's a sick goose.
There are 3 typical boats in Ria de Aveiro: muliceiro, transported seaweeds; mercantil, salt; and bateira, fish. Today, the only salt warehouse in function in Aveiro is Salineira Aveirense. E Ponte do Amor! Oh! Puente do Amor! Oh! The Love Bridge! Oh! The circuit is over. Thank you for being with us. Have a nice day. Have a good holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
Sorry, a little handsy there.
Okay. Barbara and I might be sneaking over in the dark.
This one very
Good morning, Darren Alf here from BicycleTerrainPro.com. It is the third day of cycling on the Silver Coast Bicycle Tour with Top Bike Tours Portugal. I am in my hotel room right now. We just had breakfast. I'm packing up my things last minute here. I'm going to run downstairs and we are going to begin the day. Here we go. Where are we going right now?
We're going to a porcelain old fabric,
Yeah.
which is now a museum also. So we're going to check what it is inside.
Portugal is famous for its porcelain tiles, many of which we had already seen on display in the city of Porto. But here at this museum we were able to see many of the other porcelain products that are manufactured throughout the country.
What's your name and where are you from?
I'm Diane and I'm from Sydney, Australia, one of the only Aussies on this trip.
Yeah. And how did you hear about this bike tour in Portugal?
Well, I actually booked my tour through a company called tripsite.com, and they have many cycling trips around the world, really. So I really went for a recommendation from them. They really highly regarded it, so took them on board and here I am. I did one last week. I did the Camino trek up to Santiago from Porto, and this week doing the Porto to Coimbra.
That's great. And why Portugal of all places?
I probably was encouraged because I was thinking it was a good time of year with looking at the beaches. I was thinking coastal riding would be good at this time of year. And I come from Australia, and apparently Australia and Portuguese beaches are very similar, which is what I have found actually as well. Yeah. The thing about both the tours I've done is the surfaces we're riding on. We go from cobblestone to boardwalk to asphalt, to dirt and rock and bits of sand, and I love that variety. I reckon that's really a highlight for me, because at home I only have bitumen.
How would you describe Portugal to someone who's never been here before?
Well, it's unique in that I think it hasn't got too caught up in the touristy. Once you move out of the cities, it feels like you're just in someone's backyard. And that's why I like these tours, so that you can get out of the cities, because often you get caught up in all the tourism traps of the big cities. But of course that's where you see the history of the people as well, because that's what they're selling to the world. Yeah.
What about the food and lodging on this trip?
Food and lodging is absolutely brilliant. That would be, actually the food has been absolutely beautiful. We've eaten way too much, but every single meal has been amazing. Sergio has done a terrific job. I just think he runs a great outfit here. Nothing is too much trouble, and he's always selecting great restaurants, and our accommodation has been, top class. Okay. Really good.
Once again, we woke up this morning and it was a little overcast, but again, the temperature is very comfortable for cycling, so no complaints from me, that's for sure. Now, we're cycling over this bridge on a protected bicycle path, which is really nice. And the ride today has been kind of fun because we're constantly switching from little bike paths to little back roads. Really, really nice. After our tour of the Porcelain Museum, we jumped back on our bicycles and made our way back to the waterfront. It was here that we entered the tiny town of Costa Nova de Prado and were blown away by the charm of the haystack houses that we found here. These colorful homes, painted with long, vertical, and sometimes horizontal stripes, were a joy to see as they dotted the shoreline for several hundred meters and were something very unique to this particular part of Portugal.
I think we have arrived.
The bikes here, please. We're done for today.
So we just finished our bike ride for the day. I just checked into my room. I'm gonna spin around so that you can see a little bit of it here. Pretty nice place. Back over here, behind here is the bathroom. It's kind of like hidden behind this door. Oops. So anyways, there's a shower and a toilet in there. But what I wanted to show you was back here. It's kind of blown out behind me. But out here is a balcony. And let's see if I can figure out how to open the door. So here is a really big balcony that I have all to myself, which is really nice. All right, so we finished our day of cycling. I've taken a shower in my hotel room, changed my clothes, and now I'm hanging out here at the pool. I'm in a beanbag chair. How cool is this? When was the last time you sat in a beanbag chair? So here I am. There's a swimming pool behind me too with a view of the ocean, which is really nice. I'm just waiting now for a few minutes. We're gonna go out to dinner as a group at a local restaurant here, and then that'll be the day. So another very good day here in central Portugal. On this beach behind me, there are thousands and thousands of seagulls. Like, I have never seen a beach so covered in seagulls in all my life before. It's kind of crazy, and I'm kind of tempted to just go over there and like run into them and shoot all of these seagulls up into the air. It's tempting, but I'm not gonna do it. I want to, but I'm not. So I'm back in my hotel room now. We just finished eating dinner, and the dinner tonight was really, really good. I mean, the dinners on every single night of the bike tour thus far have been good, but tonight was over the top. And the reason I think this dinner was slightly better than the other meals on the tour is because of the dessert. Now, tonight we had this, I had, you had a choice of different desserts, but I had this chocolate cake with vanilla ice cream and chocolate sauce and strawberries on the side, and it was so good. Patrick, who's one of the other tour participants on this bike tour, had the same thing, and he said this was possibly the best dessert he's ever had. So quite the compliment there, I think, and I agree. The dessert was just so good. So another great day here in central Portugal, and a great way to end the tour today with an amazing meal and an amazing dessert.
Go, Jaron, go. Go, Jaron, go. Go, Jaron, go. Ready, go.
All right, another day of cycling here in central Portugal on the Silver Coast. Bike tour with Top Bike Tours Portugal. It's another slightly overcast day, but temperatures are very comfortable. We've all kind of got like a very light jacket on, which is just helping to reduce some of the wind on our bodies, the cold from the wind, but it's really not that cold. So should be a very good day. We've got about 50 kilometers to cycle today to what is probably one of the most beautiful cities on this entire bike tour. So should be a very good finish to our day today.
Well, I was trying to, but they want us to go. No, they want us to go. Darren's getting it.
So where are we right now?
Good question. In a burnt forest.
Yeah, what do you think of this landscape?
It's interesting. Didn't know what to expect. It's we've seen a little bit of everything from the ocean to the forest. Good roads, bad roads. Good bike trails most of the way.
Yeah. Feels like we're in Australia here.
Actually, I've thought that a lot of the times.
Gold that I guess on top of that.
Oh, what do we
Go ahead.
I'm Beth Burnson from Gillette, Wyoming.
And I'm her husband, Jim, from Gillette.
Yeah. And we're on a bike tour in Portugal. How did you find out about this bike tour?
Through the your website.
Have you been to Portugal before?
Nope.
No.
This is our first time.
Oh, that's cool. What made you want to do this?
Well, I enjoy bike packing. I've done a few trips. And last year we did a trip with some friends. There were 6 of us. And so we wanted to do some more.
And I said, okay, we'll give it a try.
Have you done a bike tour like this before?
No, we've never done a guided tour before.
So it was, I think in January, I was looking at one of your videos and I said, and I saw that you had a trip in Portugal, so I said to Beth, hey, let's go bike with Darren in Portugal. And I was kind of surprised. Beth said right away, sure, I'll do it. So
I did.
So we
honestly.
did it. Yeah.
That's cool. What's it been like thus far?
Oh, I've loved it. It's been fun.
I had no expectations coming into it, and it's been really, really great. It's been a good trip, and I would highly recommend people doing it. And the food, and the accommodations, it's been really great. What I really like is they do all the planning for you. You don't have to worry about who's in the lead or where your motels are, and lunch and how lunch is, your choices that you're given for lunch, because you don't have to sit down at a restaurant and order from the menu and wait. It's already prepared, and you just go in and sit down and eat your lunch and then go again. And the coffee breaks.
Has there been a best moment? What's been your favorite moment of the trip?
Ooh, favorite moment.
I really enjoyed what we just did coming into this town here. Having well, we've been on some rough roads today, but some of it was really nice and smooth, and there's been virtually no traffic, and that's what bike touring people look for, is
I've enjoyed
no traffic.
I've enjoyed the boardwalks, riding along the boardwalks and the sea right beside you, and that cathedral that we stopped at and went out to. That was on the coast.
Oh.
I forget the name of it. No.
If someone were thinking about doing this trip in the future, what advice or what would you tell them to, like, what should they know in advance? Anything?
I'd highly recommend it. In advance, pack some warm clothes or a combination of warm and hot clothes. Because like in the mornings, I had my rain gear on, and then within an hour, you're wanting to take it off. But a jacket, a light jacket to put on when you're for cool down, and maybe layers. What would you?
I would say that if they hadn't done any bike touring, this would be a good place to start.
Yeah, definitely.
It's scenic and you're well taken care of.
Because even last night I was looking for other bike tours for 2020.
There you go.
So today is the 4th day of cycling on the Silver Coast Bike Tour, and we're really only just now hitting the first real hill of the trip. So this trip has been very flat, which is very nice. And luckily, this hill is not very long. It's about 4 kilometers, they're saying, to the top, which is about 2.5 miles. So not so bad at all. Just take your time. Go slow, you'll get up there.
I think I can.
So there's Steve ahead of me going around one of the switchbacks. And then over this way, it's the coastal view. That's the direction we've come from. Nice. Back over and up.
Still going.
Another one? Yeah.
So we've made it over the hill. A lot of people are saying the downhill section into town here was their favorite part of the entire trip. I'm not surprised. Downhills are usually a highlight. Off to my right is the ocean, and then over to my left here is the city. So we're making our way on this bike path towards the hotel.
Hey there.
Hey, what do you think?
After that hill, it was phenomenal. This has been truly worth it. I highly recommend this tour.
You were saying that the hill was your favorite part of the
Well,
whole trip.
Getting over it wasn't, but once you're coming down the hill, it was.
After eating lunch, we cycled a short distance to Casa de Poca, where an interesting collection of tiles from the late 17th century are on display. The tiles depict various scenes, landscapes, biblical stories, and historical events.
These are knights, we call it is manganese. Knights are two kinds of knights, the warriors and historical figures. All the tiles are hand painting, and the people that painting only historical figures, inspiring Italian painter, and the paintings of an Italian painter called Antonio Tempesta.
Then we cycled another short distance across the city to an outdoor stadium where we learned about the history of bullfighting in Portugal.
So we just finished our cycling for the day. Let me show you where we're staying. So here's the bathroom. And then over here is the living room. And there's like a little kitchenette in here, which is kind of cool. Right? Kitchenette with a microwave and sink, refrigerator. And then out here, I'm up on the 11th floor. Here's the view outside. So you can see all of the beach there. Big beach. Soccer field down there. And then, so there's this giant living room. And then over here is the bedroom with another big window looking outside. So bedroom and another TV over here, a desk to work at, etc. So really big place. This is my home for the evening. So we are basically on break time right now. The plan is basically take a shower, rest a little bit, walk around the city if you want to, and then at 8 o'clock tonight we will meet for dinner down in the hotel lobby and go to a nearby restaurant and have dinner. So that's the plan. I am going to take a shower now.
Wide map will go. That will bring up one.
You ready to ride today?
Yeah, you bet.
You ready to ride? You ready to ride? Patrick's ready to ride.
Let's get this party started.
Are you ready, Jared?
I'm ready! All right, so today is the final day of cycling on the Silver Coast Bike Tour with Top Bike Tours Portugal. It's been fantastic up until now. We are on the bike path heading out of town towards our final destination here in central Portugal.
In order to reach the city of Coimbra, the final destination on our bike tour down the central coast of Portugal, we needed to leave the Atlantic coastline and cycle inward, following the Mondego River to the east.
How are you feeling on the last day of the trip here?
As good as the first.
Yeah?
Yes. It's awesome.
What's been your favorite part of the ride?
It's all been great.
Yeah?
I don't know if I have a favorite moment. I do like those tall trees on the one day you...
Oh yeah, the forest.
Yeah, the forest. That was pretty spectacular. Oh, riding down the mountain yesterday was by the coast was actually my favorite, really. So, good scenery and good speed and fun.
About halfway down the river, we climbed a short hill that led us up to an impressive stone castle. Inside the castle walls is a small chapel, and from the stones at the top of the castle walls, we could stand and look out across the entire region. The castle offers some incredible 360-degree views of the area.
My name's Dave Kirsch from Gillette, Wyoming. This is my wife, Beth.
And how did you hear about this bike tour?
We heard about the tour from our friend Jim and Beth Burnson, and we came on the trip with them.
That's cool. And have you been to Portugal before?
This is our first time in Portugal.
Yeah.
It's quite a different country than we're used to. Very amazing.
What did you have any expectations coming in?
I had no expectations because I hadn't done any research beforehand myself.
Yeah. And what kind of cycling experience do you have before this?
Just local around town mostly. No long trips.
Yeah, you've never done a bike tour.
Never done a bike tour before. This is all new. The countryside's been really great to see. A lot of ocean views, some farm country. It's really been interesting to go through the different country.
But today's the last day of the trip. How has it been like cycling with people you don't know for a whole week?
You know, we've been on tours before, and there's always some grumbling between the group. I have not heard it with this group. It's been the greatest group. I don't think we could go on another tour and get this group again.
Yeah.
They've been very
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
Everybody eats supper together, just like they're not tired of each other yet, so it's been really good.
Like this, that he pretended to fall off.
We're in this neat little tree section here. This is my favorite part of the day thus far.
Look at this. This is so cool. We're almost to the end of our ride now. It's kind of sad because today's the last day and then tomorrow we go our separate ways. So we're just trying to enjoy the last few kilometers of the Silver Coast Bicycle Tour. After lunch, we walked across the street and made our way to Portugal for the Little Ones, which is kind of like a theme park that consists of mini versions of Portuguese houses and monuments.
How is it going in there?
Pretty good, pretty good.
What do you think of this place?
It's pretty amazing how it's scaled to make you feel like a giant, basically.
Eventually, we jumped back on our bicycles and made our way through the crowded streets of Coimbra, while soaking up our last few kilometers of cycling on the final day of the Silver Coast Bike Tour.
Well done. Oh, I got some.
Thanks, Sergio.
Thank you.
Thank
Better make some room for the photographer here.
How do you find that? Do you really find?
Well, I'm going to tell my family about having twice the price there.